Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martin Indyk. I'm the Vice President and Director of the Foreign Policy Program at the Brookings Institution in Washington. And it's my great pleasure tonight to welcome His Highness Hamad bin Jassim bin Jaber Al Thani, Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of the State of Qatar, Sheikh Hasina, Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Secretary General Ihsanoglu of the Organization of the Islamic Conference, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the conveners of the Brookings Project on U.S. Relations with the Islamic World, I want to welcome you to the gala opening of the 9th US-Islamic World Forum. We started this forum in the wake of the horrendous terrorist attacks of 9/11. After those attacks, Americans started paying attention to the Muslim world like they never had before, but they looked at it through the prism of jihadist terrorism. At the same time, Muslims around the world started looking at the United States through the prism of its reaction to those horrendous events. The wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, Guantanamo prison, the difficulties they had to travel to the United States. And in the process, a vast gulf opened up between Muslim and Arab governments and people on the one side and the United States government and the American people on the other. It was at that stage the Brookings Institution decided that it was necessary to start a dialogue to try to bridge that gulf. I remember 10 years ago talking to Sheikh Hamad bin Jassim in Washington about this idea, and he immediately said, you should do a conference, you should do it here in Doha. And that was 10 years ago. It was his vision and his commitment that has led to this annual forum. Bridging the divide was a Herculean task. It started with overcoming ignorance, breaking down stereotypes, opening minds, and listening. Above all, listening with respect to the views of others. And that's what we've been doing over these last 9 years. There were times when no one else was talking to each other, but we persevered. And we chose from the beginning, on the one hand, to have a narrow focus on the United States, and on the other, to have a very broad focus on the Muslim world, not just the Arab world. And that is manifested tonight, as it has in previous forums, with the presence of over 50 Muslim majority countries represented here. We sought to make it a societal dialogue involving high-level officials, politicians, faith leaders, academics, intellectuals, educators, private sector entrepreneurs, artists, writers, filmmakers, actors, even a rock star and a comedian. And we struggled to come up with meaningful cooperative initiatives in education, science and technology, culture and interfaith dialogue. Along the way, a few years ago, the Organization of the Islamic Conference, under the leadership of its Secretary General, who is with us tonight, joined us in a very fruitful partnership that manifests itself in our annual forum. I think it's fair to say that we made steady progress along the way. And then, starting in Tunisia and Egypt, some 18 months ago, our whole world changed. Revolutions that started in Tunisia and Egypt spread across the Arab world. Autocratic leaders in Libya and Yemen have been removed from power. And then the focus has shifted to Syria, where our heroic people are battling against a brutal regime that clearly will stop at nothing, including the murder in cold blood of women and children until the regime is stopped and removed. And so as a result, our conversation has now changed dramatically. It's no longer between victim and supposed victimizer. A leading segment of the Muslim people have redeemed their dignity by themselves and for themselves, and the conversation is now between free people about how to answer the needs of their people through building democratic, representative, accountable, transparent government institutions, and how the United States at all levels of society can help in this process. This is not just refreshing, it is inspirational. First in Washington last year and now in Doha, our forum has entered a new and exciting phase, one that holds out great promise for that original goal of bridging the divide. None of this would have been possible, as I said at the outset, without the vision and support and steadfast friendship of Sheikh Hamad bin Jassim bin Jaber Al Thani. And it's a great honor for us to have him present tonight and for him to address us. He is, of course, the Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of the State of Qatar. He has had a distinguished public service career, first in the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Agriculture, as Chairman of the Qatar Electricity and Water Company, President of the Central Municipal Council, Director of the Special Emiri Projects Office, rising to be member of the Supreme Defense Council, head of Qatar's Permanent Committee for the Support of Al-Quds, member of the Permanent Constitution Committee, member of the Ruling Family Council, and what I suspect is the best job, member of the Supreme Council for the Investment of the Reserves of the State. But on a personal note, I have to say how very proud I am of the friendship that he has shown me and the Brookings Institution, because Sheikh Hamad, in the midst of the tumultuous developments of the last 2 years, has risen to a leadership position not just in this country, but for the Arab world. And his leadership at critical moments, whether it was to remove the tyrant in Libya or now to work to remove the tyrant in Syria, whether it's to promote peace between Israelis and Palestinians, or whether it's to promote greater unity in the Arab world, Sheikh Hamad bin Jassim has proved himself to be not just a leader, but a great statesman. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podium Sheikh Hamad bin Jassim bin Jaber Al Thani.